Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on A World Awakening. If you didn't catch Soul Spool in the hour before, I would suggest that you go find the link so that you can have the same experience that Jeff and I had, which I think was a very cleansing, very healing experience for probably a multitude of people, not just us. So in these, dark and trying times, sometimes it's really good to be able to talk about your human flaws and foibles. And I think it helps all of us to overcome that part of us that we're not particularly fond of, but every now and then rears its ugly head. So that said, I have wonderful guests tonight. I adore these two people. We have Greg and Kathy Feketik that are on with us today, and they're going to tell you all about an event that I'll be going to in a couple of weeks called ParaPsyCon at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. I hope everybody within earshot that can get there comes, because it is a truly extraordinary experience. I went last year for the first time, and I don't ever want to miss it. At all, ever again. It was, even in spite of the weather, it's a wonderful time with wonderful people. Well, Kathy and Greg have their own team, and they're coming from us. They're coming to us tonight from the location that they're doing tours, and they can talk to us about all that they do. And I mean, these people are just filled with light and love and abundant, seemingly endless energy and enthusiasm for the paranormal. Both of them are bona fide, seasoned paranormal investigators. They have an extraordinary team of people that they work with. They have meticulously put this team together so that there's a blending and a melding of personalities and characters second to none. And I would very much like to bring them on so that you can meet them if you don't know them yet. And there they are. Look at those gorgeous.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You know, I love and adore both of you. You're just extraordinary people. And, I think about this sometimes too, because I wouldn't know either one of you if I hadn't, taken the plunge and the risk to tell our story, to put that story out into the world, and then Hollywood picks it up, and then yada yada. And then I meet just extraordinary, wonderful people like yourselves, and your team is just as beautiful. And my experience in Mansfield last year with both of you, um, it hangs in my heart. It really does. It stuck with me like a really good meal sticks to your ribs on a cold winter night. So
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. And I want to just say, Andrea, we both adore and love you too.
Yes.
thank you.
So we are just so honored to be on the show and to know you and call you a friend.
Yes, it is. It's way more than, I'm the talent and you're the promoters. It's so far beyond that it's like we just get together and play paranormal together. We just for a thing.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about ParaPsyCon, because I know it is your big event of the year. But before you do that, for anybody in the audience that doesn't know you and know who you are and what you do, why don't you just run with it and tell people your history and the history of your team and the places that you go, and just, bring yourself into my A World Awakening family.
Okay, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, you want me to go
start?
first? Okay.
Yep.
First of all, I'm a retired police officer. I was a police officer for 29 years. Been investigating since 1991. Lead Paranormal Investigator here at the Ohio State Reformatory. Been volunteering here since 2013. We started our team same year, 2013, Tri-C Ghost Hunters. We're one of the largest paranormal teams in Ohio. We have teams in Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, hence Tri-C. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
And I'm his wife.
Yeah.
No, actually, I have been investigating the paranormal for a very long time. Greg keeps better track of the years than I do, but I know it's been a very long time. And I am retired. I'm retired from the corporate world, and I now work for the Ohio State Reformatory as the Paranormal Program Manager. And just like Greg, I started here volunteering. Well, actually, like you said, we started investigating here in 2004. And then in 2013, volunteering. And now, as of last year, once I retired, this position opened up. I had no plans of taking on a job. But when it opened up, I certainly couldn't pass up being a paranormal program manager at the Ohio State Reformatory. I mean, this place itself is just so amazing. This is where we are tonight because we had a ghost walk that we were both working. Greg was doing the pushing and I was doing the check-in and everything. So the steps you see behind us are actually steps in the West Administration first floor. Where the Ohio Penal Museum is, because the Ohio State Reformatory is just so much more than just the paranormal. We have 3 different museums here. The building is absolutely beautiful, and I know Andrea can attest to that.
And I do need to point out too, if you've seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, you may recognize the steps behind us. Those steps are from the movie.
Yeah, there's been a lot of films that have been filmed here as well. So, if you come out to the ParaPsyCon, you get a tour. You know, you don't have to pay anything to come into our event, but you do need to pay admission into Ohio State Reformatory. I'll say OSR to shorten it up. You do have to pay an admission into OSR, which is a minimal fee for everything that you get here. And then you get to come through to our event and see Andrea and some other wonderful people too. So, it's a win-win situation. But a little bit about ParaPsyCon. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, talk about it. Tell people. I want to.
We get excited about this. We can't help ourselves.
Yeah, she'll just tie it on.
Once you get me going, I don't shut up.
You know what? And that's exactly why you're on my show tonight.
Yeah, and she does it. Sometimes she'll get nervous. Oh, I'm going to be so nervous. I don't know what to say. But then when the show starts, I can't shut her up. It's like,
I had, well, let me start out by saying this. I had an experience there well, I had a number of experiences when I was there last May. And I think Chanel needs you to turn your volume down just a little bit on your speakers because my voice is coming through in her studio audio room. Sorry, folks, this is live. And so we have these issues. So if you can't, don't worry about it. Everybody will cope. It's a minor thing. But when we went up into the warden's quarters, somebody was kind enough. It was really very warm and sticky up there, and we had quite a large group. We were in the part where we were doing the investigation, and somebody brought me a nice big bottle of Coke. You know, the kind that looks like how most women would like to look, with a nice narrow waist in the middle and voluptuous on top and bottom. And it was nice and cold and wonderful. And I was sitting with Adam Berry on the stage, and everybody was filing in. And I don't know if either of you were even in the room at the time that this happened.
I was.
You saw it then. Okay. So we're just sitting on the stage, just cha-cha-chaing, waiting for everybody to file in. And all of a sudden, just as I went to pop the top on my Coke, it got ripped out of my hand, just torn out of my hand and tossed across the floor a good at least 10 or 12 feet. I didn't throw it anywhere. It got ripped out of my hand. And I was like, I turned, I looked at Adam. Adam turned and he looked at me and he's like, and we are here. And we are here. And I saw that happen. And yes, I saw that happen. And needless to say, you know, my Coke was so fuzzed up that I didn't dare open the top of it. And I sat there dry as a bone for the next hour, just wanting to drink it, knowing if I popped that top, it would just explode everywhere. And I perceived it not as a mean-spirited thing, no pun intended. I perceived it as mischievous. It was the only thing I had in my hands that could, you know, somebody up there wanted to let me know that they were there. And that was all that I had to take. The only way to communicate that and let everybody else in the room know it. And that's how I perceived it. Not as mean, you know, or unkind in any way. Just that was the available thing that I had in my hand. If it had been my handbag, that might have gone flying across the floor. So, but the thing that I remember most about it, honestly, and I know I told you about it, but it was such a busy weekend that, you know, I don't even know if I gave you the full, you know, well, Greg saw, but, you know, I don't even know if I gave you the full detail of it. But the thing that was shocking to me about it was the amount of energy that that spirit had to expend in order to rip that thing out of my hand, because my hand was right around the center, like what would be the waist. And I was holding onto it really tightly because I was about to crack the top, and it was wet from you know, the sweat from the cold and in the warm air. And so I really had a handle on that thing. And what shocked me was the amount of energy that was required and employed to literally rip it out of my hand. And so I thought I found it very exciting. You know, that's just me. I found it exciting and you know, part of my grand adventure. Um, but you know, tell the folks about some of the things that have happened there, the history of the place, you know, the sad history of the place even. I mean, you know, you can feel free to elaborate and talk about some of the experiences that you've had, that your team has had. I know you have an incredible compilation of evidence that you have accrued over time there. So just tell folks what it's like investigating that building.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place to investigate. Well, Greg, why don't you give just a little bit of history about the building, and then we can share stories.
Okay. The building was constructed between 1886 and 1896. That includes this area that we're in now. This is the administration area. We are on the west side of the administration and the west cell block. East cell block was completed about 1910. At the time, it was built as an intermediate prison between the boys' school and the Ohio Penitentiary. Someplace where they could put first-time young nonviolent offenders. I mean, men who committed crimes that were a little bit more serious than put them in the boys' home, but not as serious to put them with the, you know, the really bad.
Hardened.
Yeah. Now, and at the time too, the inmates had to do three things here. That they had to go to school, they had to learn a trade, they had to go to church. They did not have a choice. They had to do those things. That was part of the process of the reformatory. And they used to only spend maybe about 8 hours a night in their cells. As the years progressed, it slowly turned into a maximum security prison. By the late 60s, early 70s, it was full-blown maximum security. At the time, inmates had rights. You could not force them to go to school, could not force them to learn a trade, could not force them to go to church. So they used to spend most of their time in their cells. And that's when it was really bad. Conditions here were bad. I mean, inmates had to put like toilet paper stuff in their nose and ears to keep the bugs out. The cells aren't that big. They're 8 feet deep by about 5.5 feet wide in the east cell block. And sometimes they would have 3 inmates to a cell. So one inmate would have to sleep on the floor. Eventually, inmates filed a lawsuit with the state of Ohio. I mean, they sued the state of Ohio because the place was so bad. State of Ohio agreed and basically built them new prisons and shut this one down. This one closed the end of December 1990. So that's history in a nutshell. It is one of the most haunted locations that we have ever investigated. Almost every night something happens here.
You know, something I want to add about the building too is it's not just a prison, because the front of the prison is in the back. In the front of the building is the administration area. We call the administration area. There's an east and a west side. This used to be living quarters for
the superintendents, assistant superintendents, chaplains, and their families.
Right. You know, so like the warden, he lived here with his family, and Art Gladkey, he had a couple of boys that lived here with them as well. And you know, some people are like, really, their families lived there, and their little boys were in with the prison and everything. If you saw this place, you'd be like, what a cool place to grow up as a kid. I mean, the places you could play hide and seek in here is unbelievable. You know, and the front part is living.
Yeah.
Back part is the prison.
Yeah, and the area that we're in now, this would have been the offices. In fact, you can't see it now, but right over here, there's a door that's about 6 feet away from us. That used to be the superintendent's office. And in fact, Superintendent Art Gladkey, he suffered a fatal heart attack in that office right there.
And what happened on the steps behind us?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's a leading question. I saw it.
Yeah, we were coming down those steps. We were on
Early
the top.
2000s.
Yeah, we were on top of the landing there. We were coming down from the 2nd level. And as we got down on the landing and started coming down these steps, we heard a right in between us.
And I was like, Greg, was that you?
And I'm like, no, I thought that was you. Well, luckily we had a video camera going at the time. So we did capture that. And that was right back there.
Yeah, right behind us.
That was probably back in like 2005, 2000.
I'll bet that made the hair stand up on the back of your neck.
Yeah, it was.
We thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see, you guys are old hat investigators. You know, it's like, oh yeah, okay, make sure we got that on film, document it, you know, chronicle it. What time did it happen? Yeah, you know, yeah, I totally get it.
There are times that we get startled. Definitely.
Well, you know, but isn't that part of the investigating too? Is not knowing what's going to happen and the excitement of having a new experience in a place that you figure you've been there for so long, you know, what new could happen, and then something does.
Something new always happens.
Yeah, we had a lot of activity these past couple of weeks, as a matter of fact.
That's because they know I'm coming.
Probably. Well, you didn't give the history about the fire at the Ohio Penitentiary, because that kind of relates a little bit to what happened last week. You want to tell a little bit about that, and then I'll lead into what was going on.
Yeah, back in 1930, there was a major fire at the Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus. Some 320-some inmates perished in that fire. They had to find other prisons within the Ohio prison system to place the other inmates while they rebuilt the penitentiary. And some 200 and some came here. Now, at the time, they actually housed them in what we call our West Attic. And just last week, on the anniversary of that fire.
Yeah, it was on April 21st. You know, now I want to elaborate a little bit on the West Attic too. Now, these are hardened criminals. When they came over here, this was still a reformatory. It was first-time offenders and young kids. They couldn't put these hardened criminals with these young first-timers. That's why they put them up in the attic. I was going to say throw, but that didn't sound nice.
Yeah.
But they were placed up in the attic, and there's no cells or anything. It was just lined up with bunk beds. So basically what they did was they shut the door. And what happened, happened. Okay, now that was on April 21st. So April 21st, on the anniversary, which was a week ago, we were actually doing a ghost walk.
What was it, a week ago?
Well, it was April 21st, whether it was a week or two. It was a Friday night, and we were doing a ghost walk. And as I was getting ready to go into the west cell block, I heard a loud bang, like a cell door in the west cell block. And that's where you are, by the way, Andrea.
Thanks so much.
But when I heard the slam of the door, so I walked over to listen, and I could hear footsteps like walking down on the main floor. And then it started running. And then I heard other footsteps running after it. Well, I could look down and see. So I'm looking down, and there's nothing down there at all. So the group was coming out of the attic, and I'm like, shh, don't make a sound. Come watch this, you know. So they went over there, cell door slamming, running, walking, men talking, everything. They got to experience the whole thing. And it wasn't until after all of that was going on that we realized that it was the anniversary of the fire. Now, I sent 3 volunteers down there to try and debunk it, because I was like, you know, it's pretty noisy. See if you could figure out what it was. They would hear the slam at one end, they'd start walking toward it, about halfway down, the door would slam behind them. They were hearing the footsteps and the running and everything going up the stairs. It was really cool.
Oh, that's great. And I'm sure you had a number of people that had recorders and that this was all captured on film or on tape. And you know, that's the thing. I mean, the compilation of evidence, you know, the night that we went out to dinner and we talked about the place, and it just seems to me that the compilation of evidence that you have acquired over the years is, if nobody ever studied any other place, how much they could learn just from that one. And yet, didn't it come within a hair's breadth of being raised, leveled? Didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it did.
Right after the movie Shawshank Redemption got done filming here, they actually started tearing down the support buildings in the back. Citizens of Mansfield got together because they wanted to save the main building. They didn't want to see that get torn down. And eventually, to make a long story short, they did purchase it at auction from the state of Ohio for $1.
$1. I remember that, $1. But then they owned it and they were in charge of it.
That's correct.
Yep. Yeah, when we started investigating, this place wasn't anything like it is right now. It was falling apart. There were peeling walls, there were paint chips everywhere. It didn't look anything like it is now. And all of the money that is acquired through tours or, you know, private ghost hunts, public ghost hunts, whatever it is, whatever they're doing to raise money, it all goes back into the restoration of this building. And it's an amazing work in progress. And some of the things that they've done here is just beautiful. And they've kept it as you know, the same products and everything to make sure that it's restored back to its natural being. We have beautiful stained glass windows here that are original. So it's just a beautiful building.
Yeah, it really is, but it has a very, very dark history. And what I've read about it, some of the things that happened there would lead, like, for instance, closing the door and leaving all those hardened criminals to their own devices.
Right.
Without even verbalizing it, you can just imagine some of the things that went on in that building. And it's so sad. You know, I think of places like Penhurst in Pennsylvania, the gruesome stories that came out of there, you know, some sick, twisted doctors who use some of the prisoners for medical experimentation, I mean, stuff that you would think would happen in Dachau and Auschwitz also was happening in the United States,
Mhm.
because sick minds exist everywhere. And given the right situation and enough privacy, people can be very, very severely abused and not have any alternative, not have any escape. Um, Please turn down. Honey, can you turn down the volume on your speaker? On your, just turn the speaker
No,
volume down on your
I think
computer just a
he's
little bit,
talking.
and we might be able to cut out that feedback without having you come back in.
Is that better?
I think that's better. Chanel, is that better, honey? I think it is. I think it's better.
Okay.
Much better. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, folks. Had to take a slight hiatus to make a little tech adjustment here. Um, I'm a techno idiot. I don't know. I just do whatever my producer says, and like,
Techno idiot.
it's sad. It's pathetic. And don't ask me to do math without my fingers. Don't either. So anyway, I know that some of the history of that place is equally gruesome.
Mhm.
And going through it, walking through it, the dampness, how dank and dark and, yes, very rusty. And, I'm sure that it was a most unpleasant environment and inhumane to keep even the most hardened criminals in. I can't imagine how that kind of an environment would do anything but make them worse, that it would just make them act out and be more angry than they already were, and abusive to each other. I cannot imagine that there was anything pleasant about incarceration there. And so I think that that fuels the energy of the place. I'm not surprised that on the anniversary of that fire is when you heard all the hoopla and the footsteps and the chaos of those spirits. And I don't know, what do you think about this? Do you think it was them making their presence known because it was the anniversary? Or do you think that in a multidimensional universe, it was maybe such a traumatic event that it left residual energy in the building, and that's what you were experiencing, or something else? Do you have another hypothesis?
Personally, for me, I don't know how Greg feels about it, but I believe that it was residual.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, the inmates who perished in the fire at the Ohio Penitentiary, they were never here at
Right.
the reformatory. But I think that a lot of that energy came from with those other inmates. And, for them to be put into the west attic, there were no windows.
Ugh.
Uh, it would have been stifling hot up there, no ventilation. And like I said, the guards would have just shut the door, locked it, and it was just like a big college dorm room with violent inmates. So I think a lot of that is, well, I mean, think there's a lot of intelligent stuff up there. Some of it's residual.
Yeah, I think what happened in the West Cell Block with the footsteps and everything like that was definitely residual. I just feel that that was something that happened on the anniversary date. But the things that go on in the attic, those I do not believe are residual. There's a lot of stuff up there. Like tonight when I was up there for giving the tour, I didn't like it up there. I was not tonight I did not like it up there. I was very uncomfortable. I felt as if somebody was pressing up against the back side of me, and I had to tell him, stop, you cannot do that. And he backed off, but it did not have a good feel to it. And the other thing is too, it does have the phantom smell up there from time to time of fire, of smoke. And tonight it was extremely strong.
Yeah, tonight on another team member, Naomi,
I
her and
remember.
I were opening up. She says hi. Another, her and I were opening up the attic for the ghost walk tonight. And man, it was so strong. I mean, we didn't even get inside the attic. We just unlocked the door from the chapel. And it was really strong. It just came into the chapel, the smell of smoke.
I'm sure that they transferred the survivors
Right.
immediately to the place that would be able to take them. And they're probably dressed in the same clothes that they were. They were probably traumatized out
Right.
of their minds. If they survived that fire, they were traumatized by watching so many other men die, burned to death. I mean, even the least compassionate person on the planet would be somehow affected by that. And so perhaps that smell is what they brought with them to this new place from the old place, because they probably suffered smoke inhalation. I'm sure their clothes smelled of the smoke. And that makes perfect sense that you would smell that. And in fact, it's interesting that you should say that, because when we were doing our tour, I caught a whiff of smoke too. And I thought, is there something in the neighborhood or the area that's on fire? And like, because it was strong, it was pungent
Right.
for a few moments, and then it was gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes when we do our tours, like when I do the private hunts, when I bring them up there, a lot of times I don't even say anything about the smoke. And when we go in there, sometimes I'll have the guests say, "Why does it smell like smoke in here?" Because on occasion it does smell like smoke in there. Not all the time, but on rare occasions it'll smell like smoke in there. But tonight was really intense.
Yeah, it was very, very strong, very strong. But like you said, they brought I think they even brought like bedding stuff too. So you've got the smell in their clothes and on their bodies and anything else that they brought with them. So
It's pretty intense stuff, I'll tell you what.
yeah,
It seems so diametrically opposed. It's kind of like a dichotomy, that you would have a building that is so beautiful and so just, I mean, it really is a stunningly gorgeous building, but such dark energy.
yeah, and the energy is different. Like in the front, it's a different energy in the
Completely.
administration area. But you go back into the cell block and the attic and with the attic and stuff, and solitary confinement, it's a completely different feel.
Mhm. Ooh, yeah. Well, I'm preparing myself again. I'm preparing myself again. We had last year, we had a wicked storm. Do you remember?
Oh
And
yeah.
a tornado went through our neck of the woods, not 10 miles away. I
Yep.
mean, everybody could hear it. It was a very big, loud tornado, and everything was whipping around, and it had torn off a few places on the roof, and it was leaking, and you were running around trying to get some buckets, down to catch the rainwater. It was a wild storm. And yet, I don't know, that was part of the excitement too. It seemed to really stir up the energy in the place.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
that
that.
was yeah. I remember Ben Hansen was in a lake.
Yeah, we had to move them.
I never even got to see him. Oh no, maybe he came to my table to see me. I can't remember which event that was, but it was really fun. I had the most fun though I had. We weren't even there. It was at our meet and greet.
Right.
Yeah.
When we went outside after we had all our scrumptious food, and everybody was feeling no pain and really happy to be there. And I went out and started talking to the Galactic family, and Schrader's like, "Oh God, she's doing it again. Oh God, I'm out." He's afraid of my little friends. They're not that little, by the way. So yeah, what should people? It's a Friday night meet and greet, and then it's all day Saturday and Sunday. So
Yeah.
do you sell tickets or entrance fee at the door per day? Or can somebody go to your website, and that should be connected to, it will be to the link on the show, and can, purchase for the whole weekend? Or how do you work that? How do you do that? How do people get there? Where should they stay? What's up with all of that? How can we pack the joint?
Go ahead. You go with the tickets.
Okay,
No
as far
pun
as the
intended
tickets,
about the joint thing. No.
as far as the tickets, everything you said, yes, you can do all that. So basically, it depends on what you're more comfortable with. On our website, which is www.parapsycon.com, there is an area where you can go to tickets and you can purchase the tickets. We have a couple of different options. One is the meet and greet. That's what Andrea talked about. It's a wonderful time. The ticket covers meet and greet, being able to talk to all of the talent, and you get appetizers and soft drinks, and it's just a wonderful time. You get a couple of 2 hours of one-on-one time with the celebrities at different times. So that's the Friday night, and those tickets are available there. Then we also have our celebrity ghost hunt, which is Saturday night. You can purchase those tickets as well.
We're almost sold out.
But yeah, we're almost sold out. I think we have 2 or 3 tickets left for that. Regarding and then our prime tickets, they're gone.
Yeah.
As far as purchasing tickets to get into the OSR, there's also a location. You can get that on the website, and it'll take you right to the OSR website where you can purchase it. You can get a weekend pass, for both Saturday and Sunday, for $40. And then the regular admission fee, if you just want to come on Saturday or you just want to come on Sunday. Now, there are discounts depending on different things, like, I think student and military stuff like that. So you could get just single tickets if you want to do that as well. Now, if you don't want to go to the website, come on down. We have a ticket office here. You can purchase the tickets the day of the event. You can purchase the weekend tickets as well. So that's how you get your tickets. Did I miss anything?
No. You got all the ticket information right. And there again, I mean, and as far as admission into the Ohio State Reformatory, that is strictly through the Ohio State Reformatory. We have nothing to do with those tickets. We just have a link on our website that'll take you to the Ohio State Reformatory website. The celebrity ghost hunt and the meet and greet, yes, we sell tickets for that stuff too. And I also want you, since we're talking tickets and money here, Kathy and I are the organizers, promoters of the event through Black Shamrock Events, which is our company. We make no money off the event.
And I want to back up just a little bit too. We are the organizers, but we have a wonderful team. Tri-C Ghost Hunters, which is the Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati area, that it's our team, ghost hunting team. They work this event, and they don't get anything out of it other than the satisfaction of doing a great job and being part of the event. They're wonderful people. They're hard workers. We love them. Every one of them works their little tail end off because they know that
all the money goes back into the Ohio State Reformatory. And we have numerous team members who will get here at about 10, 11 a.m. on Friday, and will be here until Sunday evening at 8, continuously here.
That's commitment. That is a level of commitment that you don't find in any field. That's yeah, and you can tell that they love last year I had the pleasure and the privilege of being led into like a kitchen area, or like a cafeteria area, where all of your volunteers were, and your staff and your team, your crew, and just hobnobbing with them personally for a couple of hours. And then I believe that's after that is when we went on to the evening
Right.
ghost.
The ghost hunt.
Right, and that's something that we do because they are working hard. They don't get a real chance to, talk
Come
with
around and
everybody.
see everybody.
So
Yep.
we have the meet and greet for them,
Mhm.
with all the special guests. So it's sort of like, thank you. Thank you for,
And we appreciate you all
Yeah.
doing that because it's so important to them, because they just don't get the time to be able to really sit and get to know anybody. So that's a great opportunity. It's good to hear, Andrea, that you enjoyed it too.
Oh, I did completely. It was
Mhm.
wonderful, and everybody was like, "Would it be okay if we took a picture?" Yeah, that's why I'm here. Get over here. Let me hug you. Let me, let's take a picture here. Take another one. Oh, there's a selfie. I mean, and they were so lighthearted and just so full of enthusiasm and energy. And it was actually really inspiring to see people that were so devoted to the cause, to the team, to the place, this magnificent place that came within a hair's breadth of no longer existing. It is, it really is inspiring to me to see a community come together and people who are like-minded and really want the same thing, which is the best for the town and for the place and for the team and for each other. Um, it was honestly, I went to a number of events last year. It was one of my best memories of the whole. I went to Scotland last year, and yet one of my best memories of 2022 was being at OSR with the two of you.
That's,
That makes
wow.
me feel
It's
good.
very,
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank
thank
you.
you.
And we feel the same way about our team. We,
And
I can't say enough about them.
yeah,
They're
and
great.
it's one of the things that we tell the team members too. It's like we need to take care of all of our special guests and all of our vendors. So that's why we have all of our team members going to all the vendors. Can I get you anything? Is everything okay? And that's why we assign team members to the celebrity special, our guests, to take care of them too. I
Mhm.
mean, if it wasn't for our team members, we wouldn't be able to put on this event.
No, we couldn't.
And we've been to events before where we haven't even seen, we didn't even know who's part of the who's ever putting it on. But this one, we make sure that everybody gets taken care of. So, I mean, even the vendors, sometimes they'll have our team members stop by 10 times during the day. Can I get you anything? Is everything okay? And that's why we assigned them to you too.
And they all do it with a smile.
Yeah.
All with a smile and a good heart. And God, we love them. That's all we could say is we love them. And like Greg said, no, we don't keep a penny of it. It all goes back here. But not only that, we don't just give the money back to the OSR. We also do.
We do a food drive for the Hope Food Pantry here in Richland County. And we also do a pet supply drive where we ask people to bring in, cat and, dog food and any type of pet supplies that we donate
That's a
to.
magic word.
That we donate to the Humane Society and the Richland County Animal Warden. So it's all about giving.
Yeah, and that's the only thing we ask, we don't charge anything for the event for the guests to come in, but we do ask, please bring food, please bring something for the animals. That's the only thing we want so that we can give and keep giving. So.
Our best friends on the whole planet right here. Best
Yeah,
friends.
I don't know if we said the dates. The dates are May 19th through the 21st.
Yeah,
Yep.
May 19th is the
21st.
meet and greet.
Yep.
Is the meet and greet and the actual event. Let's give the times too. Meet and greet is Friday night, 8 to 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, the hours of the event are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Sunday, it's 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some great speakers too.
Speakers
Very
and
good speakers.
celebrities.
Am I speaking?
Of course you are.
Yes.
Do I get to speak about whatever I want to speak about?
No.
Did I just make you nervous, Greg?
No.
Yeah, because I don't know. I can't remember. Did I send you a? Is there a program? Is there something
Yes,
in there
yes.
that's what I'm talking about? You got to tell me in advance.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we should have everything for you. Do you know what you're talking about?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is the title. What is it? No, I'm just kidding. It is The Real Conjuring House, My Personal Journey.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
'Cause
Yeah, because you
I
know
mean,
what? There's been a whole lot that has happened there since I saw you last, because it was last May, same month that we did your event, that the new owner assumed ownership of the house, Jacqueline Nunez. And oh my God, the whole energy of that house just shifted in the most remarkable way. And I've been there a number of times since then, since she assumed ownership. And oh my God, we've had some extraordinary things happen. So, yeah, that's what I'll be talking about. Uh, yeah, oh my gosh. I don't think it will certainly fill an hour or 45 minutes or however long I have. And then people will be coming up to my table afterwards saying, tell me more, please tell me more. You know, just when we thought that we kind of pretty much knew everything about that place, we're just scratching the surface, scratching the surface. I don't know if you're familiar with this young couple, but anybody that's listening, please go search Cody Ray Despian and Satori Hawes. They have, just as COVID was starting and we were all going into kind of lockdown mode, something shifted for them. And they discovered that spirit will make direct contact through them as the conduits. And I am not kidding. I have seen it happen over and over and over again in my physical presence, not just on film. And some of the spirits at the farmhouse have, not all of them, but some of them have come directly through Cody and Satori. And they have a methodology. It's done with numbers and letters. And basically, the spirits spell out what they're trying to say. And the last time I was there, I'm not kidding, Kathy, when I get my hands on you and I wrap my arms around you, you're going to feel the difference, because you've been to the house now. You know, there's an energy about that place that is indisputable. It is undeniable. But when I was there over Halloween, no, I think it was last summer sometime. It was right after. It was I no, I it doesn't matter. Let me just say what it was last year. Cody and Satori, and all the spirits kept, trying to get her attention at once, and it involves a kind of a knocking, that is, it's nondescript. You can't tell where it's coming from, but it's tapping out like Morse code, and you can spell out the words. And one of the spirits, all of the spirits were coming through at once, and she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, you all have something to say. The knocking was frantic, and there was like 30 people in the room. We were all crammed in. And she's like, okay, you all have something to say at once. We can't do it this way. Who do you want the message for? And it spelled out the beginning of my name. She said, Andrea, yes. 1 knock for yes, 2 for no. How many words? 4 words. 1, 2, 3, 4 knocks. And then she said, okay, what's the message? And they spelled out, we miss your family.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So, can you imagine a time when we could get them out to Mansfield and what they could discover that could just expand your knowledge of the energies and the characters, the spirits that are still there? It would be absolutely amazing. Well, we'll
It
talk.
would be.
We'll talk. We'll
Yeah,
get them out there at some point. A special event, something. I mean,
yeah.
because what they're doing, I didn't think I would live long enough to see this. I really didn't. It's that magical and mystical and wonderful, and it's miraculous. It's miraculous what they're doing. They're moved a quantum leap in paranormal investigation. Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, that said, we only have a couple of minutes to wrap, but I so appreciate the invitation. I so appreciate you coming on the show. I'm asking everybody that's watching this, if you know anyone in the area, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Upper Midwest, make it a trip to remember next, it's not next weekend, it's the weekend after, but you know, go to the website, make a trip, come see us. It will be something that you will remember for the rest of your life. And I love you both. And I thank you both so, so much for joining me tonight on A World Awakening. Can't wait to get my hands on you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We
It was-
love you so much,
Yep.
Andrea.
And
I'll
thank
see
you for
you
having us
very
on the show.
soon.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
see you very soon. And I'll close out the show as I always do. Remember, always remember to be the light you seek. Good night, everyone.
Good night.